Hello everyone, welcome to Qshore. In this video, I'll explain you how Webdriver identify the elements in application. And also we will discuss about basic business operations in Webdriver. So let me compare IDE, RC and Webdriver. So of course, we are not using IDE and RC in projects, guys. But for subject point of view, you need to understand how to write the code in IDE, how to write the code in RC, as well as in Webdriver, so that you can easily understand how to work with Webdriver. So let me start with the example. Assume that this is my application. This is the Facebook application. In this application, we have so many elements like email, password, login button, forgotten account link, first name, surname. So many elements we have in this Facebook application. Now I would like to enter email and the password using IDE first. I would like to write IDE code to enter the email and password. So as we discussed in the earlier sessions, that every element, before working on any element, first we need to identify the element. So first automation tool has to identify the element, but every element is having many locators. In these locators, most of them are common locators and a few of the locators are unique locators. So with the common locators, it is very difficult for the automation tool to identify the elements. With the unique locators only, automation tool can easily identify the elements. So let me start with the example. I would like to write the IDE code to enter the email and password in Facebook application. How to write the code? We'll see, guys. First, let me open the notepad. Now, when you open the Selenium IDE, if you open Selenium IDE, you can see three different columns. First one is the command, then next one is the target, and third one is the value. First one, command. What is a command? By using the type command and target. What is the target? This element is having many locators, so we need to identify the unique locator. So what is the unique locator? How can you know the locators of the element? Right click on the element, inspect. When you click on inspect, you can see these are all the list of locators of this email element. In this list, you need to identify which is the unique locator. So at this stage, I will use ID, but in projects, we are not using ID, guys. We are using XPath, CSS, DOM. That we'll discuss in the next levels of videos. In the next videos, I'll explain you how to write the code using XPath, how to use the CSS, how to use the DOM. All these things we'll discuss in the next levels. So at this stage, we are using ID is the unique locator. So what is the target? ID equals to email. And the value is what? I'm just giving the value as a Kishore Kumar. Right, next one. I would like to enter the password. So type command we are using. ID equals to pass. And the value is what? Something like Kishore Tech is the value. How we are writing the code in Selenium IDE. So same code I would like to write using Selenium RC. Selenium RC, it's a remote control. So it's an outdated one and no one is using this RC in the market now. But still why I am explaining is this is only for the experienced people. The reason behind explaining this RC is if you have some 7 years, 8 years of experience on Selenium, if you attend the interview, you cannot tell the interviewer to ask you the questions only related to Webdriver. So as an interviewer, I have a right to ask you any questions related to any component of the Selenium. Even you are as a senior member, as an experienced person, you should not say that I'm working on only Webdriver. I know only about Webdriver. Don't ask me questions related to RC or IDE. This is not possible practically, guys. That's what. Forget about the work, and you should know as an experienced person, you should know how to work with IDE, how to work with RC. At least you should know something about IDE and RC. That is the only intention I'm explaining this RC. I'm including RC here, guys. Now see. So same program, how to write it in RC. For working on Selenium RC, we are importing one class called default Selenium by creating an object. By creating an object in the new default Selenium. New default Selenium with the 4 arguments. So those things we need not to discuss here. Once you create a default Selenium object, here I need to write the code. How to write the code? I created object, right? With the help of the object, we can call the methods. How to call the methods? Object dot type. So here in IDE also we use type, RC also we use type. But what is the difference between this type and this type here? The difference is this is the command in Selenium IDE. This is the method in Selenium RC. This method is available in default Selenium class. So to access the methods from this class, we created an object instance. We created with the help of the object we are calling the methods. So here ID equals to email and the value is what? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, something. I just enter the email. Next one, I would like to enter the password. Object.type. Object.type. ID equals to pass. And the value is what? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Right. This is the RC code. If you observe both the IDE and RC code, if you see this, this is the type command in IDE. This type is the method. And here I enter Kishore Kumar. Here I enter A, B, C, D, F, G, H. But if you observe both the scripts, IDE and RC scripts, there is a one common point that is called as locators. So IDE is identifying the elements based on the locators. RC is also identifying elements based on the locators. So locators never changed. Okay, every component, not only Selenium guys, each and every automation tool will identify the elements in application only based on the locators. Same thing is applicable in IDE and RC also. IDE is identifying elements based on the locators. RC is also identifying elements based on the locators. Same thing is applicable in Webdriver also. So how to work with Webdriver? Now, how Webdriver will identify the element? As we discussed in the last sessions, last videos, so for working on Webdriver, first we need to create the Webdriver reference. We need to create the reference and we can implement that in a browser driver. We are using the memory of the respective browser driver class. So I created one driver reference. How to create it? Webdriver driver reference equals to new. For example, we are working on Firefox driver. Firefox driver. So after that, we are launching the application, maximizing application. That is quite common. So now coming to the next one. I would like to enter email using Webdriver. Till now, I enter email and a password in a Facebook application using IDE and RC. Now I am doing it in Webdriver. So how to work with Webdriver? Before working on any element, even Webdriver also has to identify the elements. That is common for every automation tool. Before working on any element in a page, every automation tool has to identify the elements. That is for QTP, UFT, IDE, RC, same thing is applicable for Webdriver as well. But how Webdriver is identifying the elements? Simple. So driver dot, whichever the driver reference you created, okay, driver is nothing but here, whichever the application you opened in that application, by using find element method, we'll do one thing. Webdriver in the application, whichever the application you opened in a Firefox browser in that application, by using find element method, so you can first find out the element. But how Webdriver will find out the element? By dot locator. I'll explain you practically in the Eclipse. So but before moving into the Eclipse, you need to understand clearly this concept, guys. Then it will be easy for you to understand in Eclipse. So what is the instruction I'm giving here? So whichever the application I opened in that application, by using find element method, so it will find out the element. Which element it will find out? By whichever the element is having the locator as a ID, and that locator should have the value of email. This is how Webdriver will identify the element in a page. So before working on any element, Webdriver has to find out the element. That is possible with the help of the find element method by locator and value. If you observe IDE, RC, Webdriver, so syntax of the code might be different, but locators remains same. If you observe, locators remain same. Understand? Next, tell me, I would like to identify the password. How to identify the password? Driver dot find element of by dot id of what is that? Pass. By dot id of pass. Understand, guys? So till now we discussed how to identify the element, but my requirement is not just identifying the elements. Suppose my requirement is I would like to enter email as Kishore. Till now what we did, we just identified the email. This is not sufficient. In that email, I want to enter the value. That entering value is possible with the help of the send keys method. Send keys of what is that? Kishore. To see this complete code, you can get a clear picture. Before working on any element in a page, first we need to find out the element. In that element, by using some method, send keys method we are using to enter the value as Kishore. Now tell me, I would like to enter the password as ABCDEF. So before entering the password, first we need to identify the password. Yes, we identify the password. Dot send keys. Dot send keys of what is that? ABCDEFGH. This is how Webdriver will identify the elements in application, and we can perform some operations in a Webdriver application using these methods that I'll show you practically in the Eclipse with example now. Okay, I'll show you practically, guys. So let me go to the Eclipse. I created one class called business operations here. In this class, I'm going to work on Webdriver in Firefox browser. So first, before working on Firefox application, before working on Facebook application, first we need to open the Facebook application. Before opening the application, first we need to implement Webdriver into one browser class. Which browser you would like to work? Any browser. So here I'm using the Firefox. So how to use the Firefox and how to work? Just see. First one, Webdriver reference equals to any reference name you can create. Reference equals to new Firefox driver. New Firefox driver. So next one, with the help of this driver dot get application we are opening, http facebook.com. Once you open this Facebook application, driver dot manage dot window dot maximize. Is clear. This is the common code, okay, to launch the application. So once you launch the application, my requirement is I would like to enter the email. So as we discussed earlier, before entering the email, first Webdriver has to identify the email. How Webdriver will identify the email? Simple. Driver. What is the meaning of driver here? So whichever the application you opened in a Firefox browser, that is a driver now. Driver dot find element of. Did you see this method? Find element of by dot. When you enter by dot, automatically see the all locators list will display. These locators we discussed. What is the locators in the previous videos? And these locators will see XPath, CSS, DOM, link text, tag name. Each and every locator will be explaining very clearly in the next levels of videos or next levels of training. I'll explain you clearly what is XPath. Only XPath, I need around 2 hours to explain you. So tag name and a link text, each and every locator we will discuss clearly in the next levels of training. So at this stage we are using ID. So by dot ID. When I use the ID, automatically see it is asking me what is ID? Email. Better, my suggestion is don't write these locators manually until unless you are more comfortable with the locators. Initial stages, when you are practicing in the initial stages, don't write it manually, these locator values. You can always copy paste the locators from the inspect page in a application. Okay, it is not suggestible you to write manually, because even if you made a single mistake, it cannot identify the element. So once it identify the element, so my requirement is not just identify the element, we need to enter the value. First identify the element, then dot send the keys. Send the keys of what? Kishore Kumar. How we are working on Webdriver. This is how Webdriver is identifying the elements and performing some basic operations. Here guys, now coming to the next one. I would like to enter the password. How to enter the password? Same. Driver dot. First to find out the password. Find element of by dot ID of pass. Again dot send the keys. Understand? Now, once you enter the email and password in this application, I have a drop down. See, this is the drop down. I would like to select the drop down value. I would like to select 24 in this day drop down. So how to select this 24 in this day drop down? For selecting value, for selecting also, first we need to find out this element. So how to identify the element? Find element of by dot id of day. So since I'm much comfortable with these locators, I'm directly typing, guys. You people don't type it. Suppose if you would like to work on this day drop down, what to do? First, you need to take the locator, inspect it. When you inspect, you can see list of locators. From this list, you can take the unique locator. At this stage, you can take the ID as a unique locator. Understand, everyone? So I'm directly typing manually, so no need to worry. Dot, what to do? How can we select the value in this? How can we select the value in this drop down? By using send keys only. Send keys of 24. Understand? Next one. I would like to select the month as April. How to select the month as April? Driver dot find element of by dot id of what is that? Month. Locator value of month. Dot again send keys of what? April. This is how we are identifying the elements in application and writing the basic programming in WebDriver. But frankly speaking, this is not the way we are writing the code in projects. This is the basic programming. This is the basic way to identify the elements and working on the elements. But this is not the way we are working in projects, guys. But for understanding that page object model, that advanced concepts, first you need to understand this base concept. Let me run this code. When you run this code and run, it will launch the Facebook Firefox browser and open the Facebook application, and it will maximize the application and it will enter the email, password, and it will select the day as 24, month as April, everything as it is, it will be executing. So this is how we are working with the business operations, and this is the way WebDriver is identifying the elements. So let it complete the execution, guys. So it entered email, password, and 24 as a day and a month as April. Now, my requirement is in this application, we have a mail radio button. Did you see these radio buttons? We can see radio buttons are check boxes, whatever it is, guys. Now I want to check this radio button. How to check this radio button? In Selenium IDE and RC, we have a different commands to check the radio button or checkbox. There is a command called check. Okay, but RC also we have a object dot check. We have a check commands. In WebDriver, we don't have any check command, uncheck command and all. If you want to check this radio button, so first take the unique locator here, right click on it. There is no check command here. We are using click command only. In IDE and RC, we have a separate commands. Check command is for checking the checkbox, check the radio button. Click command is for clicking on the button, clicking on the link and all. But here we don't have check command, uncheck command separately and all. For everything, for check the checkbox or check the radio button or uncheck the checkbox or click on the button or click on the link. For every operation, we are using only click command. We don't have multiple commands here. We have only click command. So how to check the radio button? First, we need to first identify the radio button. Driver dot find element of by dot id of so and so, which I copied. Dot, what is that? Click. Same radio button in ID and RC, we checked it by using check command. Here we have a click command. Understand? Now I enter the email or I enter password. I would like to remove the password. My requirement is I want to remove the password. How to remove the value from the password? For entering password value, we use send keys method. For removing the password, what to do? We are using clear method. But before removing also, first we need to find out the password. How to find out the password? Same, driver dot first find out the element. Find element of by dot id of what is that? Pass dot. Understand? For entering value, we are using send keys. For removing the value, we are using the clear method. This is how WebDriver will identify the elements. This is the best practice, guys. So working on IDE, RC, and Webdriver. So even though, of course, we are not using IDE and RC anywhere, but still you should know how to work with subject perspective. You should be comfortable with each and every component of the Selenium. This is the best code for IDE, RC, as well as the Webdriver. That's all about the business operations and how